the Showtime series, Yellowjackets. So, if you're not familiar with this, it is obviously inspired by the unfortunate events that happened on Friday 13th, October 1972, in which a Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 crashed into the Andes Mountain, and 45 people on board were part of a Uruguayan rugby team, and 16 survived. Sub-zero temperatures, after numerous days searching for survivors, they ended the search. In this part of the Andes, there was no forest, so there's no wood to burn for warmth. They had to resort to cannibalism, and not just cannibalism, raw human flesh cannibalism, since they couldn't cook. And they also had to just huddle up for warmth. And so what we have in Yellowjackets is a high school girls soccer team who qualified for national championships. And they board a plane. And this is set in 1996. The soccer team hails from New Jersey. And what happens in this series is a seemingly flawless back and forth spanning 25 years. Only a few survive, but it is quite a compelling story of those who survive and their survivor's guilt, their personal issues, trauma, their inability to function in daily life, all gets thrust into the forefront when a mysterious postcard is sent to some of them. The postcard had markings that were seen only in the wilderness that they had crashed. And so it is an eerie inside job kind of thing. Now, this story starts out very savagely. I mean, in the first episode, you see what looks like a scene right out of Lord of the Flies. And then you go back in time to the interpersonal relationships of the soccer players, the drama that each one is undergoing in their own personal lives. And then you flash back and forth into 25 years later when one is running for senator, the other one is trying to deal with her failed marriage, one is coming out of rehab, the other one, which I will have to highlight, played by Christina Ricci, is, a phenomenal, stellar job of basically a psychopath nurse. She is controlled. She is unemotional, calculating, vicious, and, ruthless. But there's so much emotion here, there's so much dark sides that very, very well gets explored, exploited, and really, really, really gets you as the audience feeling for them, as well as scared to death that you run into these people. So imagine what you have to do to survive. And not everybody you crash with you like. And then winter comes. And then rations. And suspicion. And hate. And everything that comes with being a teenager. In addition to trying to survive. Now there's more nuances and complications here that I'm not going to go into because I don't want to spoil everything for you. But it's no secret that there is also a supernatural element thrown in here. In the very beginning, I was skeptical about that and how that would work. But it's so well written. And let me just underscore that it is so spectacularly casted and played. To just name a few: Melanie Lynskey, Juliette Lewis, Christina Ricci, I mentioned already, Tawny Cypress, and then their younger selves: Sophie Thatcher, Sophie Nielsen, Samantha Hanratty. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Very, very, very strong cast. Jasmine Savoy Brown. I wonder if they met each other, but they play off their past and present so well. And really, really is a testament to trauma. Now, they've made a pact to not disclose what really went on there and what did they have to do to survive and the events that took place. But there has to be a season 2 because there's so many open endings here. There are many serious issues that is broached, such as suicide, depression, regret, living with the regret, living with things that you had to do that you would normally not ever even think of doing, friends you left behind, choices you had to make, and life and death in your hands. All I can say is hint this: once you kill, it gets easier. And so I'll just leave it at that. I would have to give this 4.5 stars. What falls short from 5 stars is, of course, obviously it has to be super perfect. I just didn't know how well this supernatural element is going to play. It can still work. It intrigues. They didn't really full-blown throw it out there until the last few episodes, so I think that was intentional. Again, the writing, the director, the casting, the acting, stellar, top-notch. It's on Showtime. I think it's a Showtime original series. The pacing is phenomenal. I don't think there's ever too much of a time spent in one time period or the other. Everything is relevant and the story flows very well. Episodes are quite long, but for good measure, because you really appreciate the stellar acting. The soundtrack also will bring you back. If you're from the 90s like me, you will enjoy it. It really, really brings back the nostalgia of the time. And there's plenty of gore, slasher, and of course the supernatural element I had mentioned. Go check it out. There is a very good sting, and I cannot wait for Yellowjackets Season 2. This is Rocka from Dead Air Dudes. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Save the whales.